LJ, we're back and over to you for what we were talking about.
I am, you know, I'm at a place where I am like you, right? I'm at a place where I'm like, take your time. 2022 is take your time year, because you're balancing expectations from all over. We were joking about it earlier, but for us, we're waiting for government contracts to come back. We're waiting. We've already finished negotiations. We're ready for a start date. And, no one, like you said, we joked about it earlier. They're not back in the office.
Yeah.
You have to take your time this year, because so many of these people that we're relying on, they're taking their times. They're not moving fast. I'm thinking about contracting. I'm thinking about even education, all kind of opportunities. And I was talking, we had this entrepreneur that we were talking to that's based in Barbados this morning. And excuse me.
Okay.
Thank you. This is the cedar pollen, guys, not COVID. And one of the things
If you're in South Central Texas, you know all about cedar, just as a side note.
It's serious. One of the things we were talking about with her this morning, because she's in Barbados, we were talking about how hard it is, because she's got all these things that she wants to do. I told her it's really hard to make connections and do these types of volunteer things and these types of career transitions. It's really hard to give people that warm handshake and really make sure that they get sort of set up for the right thing, because everybody's working from home. And, people just naturally become extraordinarily transactional and nearsighted when they're working from the comfort of their own home, or sometimes the discomfort of their own home. You get so caught up in, and this is what I tell people, I understand remote work. I get the need to really kind of adjust mentally and be ready for that. But the issue that I have with it is that when you're working from home, you are not the same person that you are when you work from the office. I'm sorry, it's a totally different person. Okay, it's a different mentality. And there is a accountability that comes with having people in the office. There's an accountability to yourself, to your team, just to the space. It's something about walking in the door, right, and hitting that elevator button, making that coffee out there in the coffee room. I mean, mentally, you are prepared to take on the day, and that preparation involves, networking. Sometimes it involves charity. Sometimes you might talk to someone and on the surface, you might not understand how they can help you or how they can support you, because they may not be able to afford your product or your service, and you're kind of like, I don't know what I'm talking to this person for. When you're talking to that person in the office, you're going to entertain that conversation. You're going to give that person that time. You're going to find a way to be a little creative. Versus when you're home, you're so comfortable, you're kind of like, whatever. It is what it is. You can't do anything for me. And then you move on from that person. Not understanding it's not about that individual, it's about who they know as well. You'd be surprised who you bump into and who you think can't help you and how they actually can help you. But that doesn't come to your mind that easily or readily when you're working from the comfort of home, where you don't have that separation. You got to have that separation from, here's my work life, here's my home life. Everybody wants to kind of act like it's okay to bring them together and mesh them, and they're indistinguishable because I'm the same person at work as I am at home. I hope you're not. I don't like to be productive when I'm home. Right. So I'm not the same person that I am at work. At work, I'm attentive. I listen. I'm a nice person at work. When I go home, I don't know if my husband thinks I'm nice. I'm gonna put it out there, okay? I don't know if he thinks I'm a nice person when I'm home. All right. But at work, I'm a very nice person. I have to be because I've left all the home stuff at home. And you know what it reminds me of? You and I had this conversation years ago. This is the magic of being a teacher. We talked about this, right?
Right.
Teachers, you have to turn it off. You
True.
have to turn it off because it's just like being an entrepreneur. There's always something to do. There's a website, there's content on the website that needs to be updated. There's a new feature that you might want to play with to put onto your website. There's something that your client, you're trying to find a better way to help them, put together certain processes and procedures, and you've got a template that you want to find, the right template, not a smart, cheap template, something a little bit more refined and sophisticated and academic, right? I'm just saying, it's just like a teacher. There's always something to do, always. If you're creative and you're a natural problem solver and you're naturally fulfilled by being that kind of person, there's always something for you to do. So guess what? When I leave the school, when I leave the classroom and I go home, guess who's there? It's not instructor LJ, it's not teacher LJ. It is LJ without clothes. LJ with a beer in her hand. Okay? That's who's at home. I'm just saying, it's not the same person that you had in mind. And that's okay. It's okay to compartmentalize. We talked about that earlier too. Mm-hmm. Folks struggle with understanding that you're not going to know the whole person. It's just like your parents. You're not going to know who they are outside of being your parent. And that is okay. That is okay. You can compartmentalize your relationship with your parents. That means you can compartmentalize your relationships with everybody else in your life. There's certain things about Jocelyn, people, that I don't care to know. All right. She tells me what I need to know. All right. I don't need to know her routine for, washing the bottom of her feet. I don't care. That is not my business. All right. That is okay. But for some reason, we struggle with that. We're like, oh, you're not authentic. No, it's just that people don't need to have access to your energy at that level. That is a lot of energy. That's a lot of access there.
Yeah, well, I mean, to your point, there are things that we never want to know about our parents.
No.
And one of my parents, I won't say which one, because I also have step-parents, about a decade ago, kind of went through something in such a way that there are truly things I literally had to say to them, I really did not need to know that. No. I mean, I get that, as we've all gotten older, as happens, guys, you may be listening to this and not believe this now, but the truth is, if you're willing and open and your parents are willing and open, and sometimes that takes quite a bit, depending on like what's gone on, you really do get to a point in life where you and your parents they're still your parents, you're still their child, but you really are friends. You really do develop a friendship. And sometimes you have some really interesting conversations when it turns around that way. And sometimes there's things that they forget that you're not their like best girlfriend. So they start telling you things that you're like, I really did not need to know that. Thank you. That is seared on my brain. And I've had a few of those conversations with a couple of my parents, pretty much all of them. But, I mean, I think it still comes down to this whole thing of like, sometimes when we're in high pressured positions and stuff, like some of the work that I used to do as either an appointed official or working in higher level parts of government and stuff, it was really hard to turn off because you're like that other person for 16 out of 24 hours a day. And so it's really hard when you come home. So your family kind of sees that. They see partially you and part that person. And, the truth is when I'm home, there are other things I like to do, but I've had to almost over the last couple of years in particular, I've had to really train myself to embrace that again and like be me, to become back to the full me. You know, we're in the well, we're not in the process of actually, we officially opened on New Year's Day our new offices here in Virginia, to add to our offices in Austin, and we've got some new stuff that's going to open later this year, because there's some stuff we had to close down based on the pandemic, and then that's going to come back online, but new places from where it was, and like that over this year. But we you know, I had for years, because of the nature of what this business is, I had either worked it out of an office that I might have co-located with, like when I was selling real estate. So I'd work both of them because I was producing enough volume that I had an office in the real estate with another real estate partner, and I kind of were in there. Or I was working out of my client's space, and then, you know, in between kind of work out of house. But in 2018, I got, for the first time ever, like I went out and on purpose established like a totally separate office from all of that. So this is it. So when I had to literally abandon that in 2020, and then was never able to go back to that office, because of the pandemic. And then we ultimately moved, but at the time, the city I was in was kind of making it impossible to really reopen that office too, because of some of the regulations. You know, it's been a long, tough road having to really work back out of this house. And even though my home here now, on the East Coast here, we have a whole separate space in our house that was designed to be an office. Like, it has doors, I can walk out of it at night, close the doors, turn out the light, we're done, you know, and now I go be me. It's still tough to be in the house continuously. First off, you get tired of the scenery, for one thing. Secondly, you know, you don't really want your clients over to your house. So there is that. You know, I mean, there's other ways, and now that things have opened up a little bit more, is like here and where I am on the East Coast, it started kind of opening up about mid-August. So as there's a kind of, you know, it's helped because I can go to the networking events, right?
Yeah.
But while I see so many business owners and entrepreneurs and others who are just working and stuff, doing that on one hand, to move on, to just deal with this thing, whatever version it's going to be in. I guess the latest version is on the Chrome, but whatever version it's in, you know, that we're quite honestly going to be dealing with for probably at least 10 years. It's a virus. It's not going anywhere. We're going to have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So there's a certain part that's moving on, but it seems like there's this certain part that people just got stuck. And not only did they get stuck, but they feel entitled to make whatever they're going to make, or to dictate. I'm like, when you're part owner of the, guys, I'm going to be really brutally honest. When you are part owner of the company, or you are owner of your own company, or you have managed to work your way so you're part owner of a said company, you put as much sweat, equity, and tears into it. And I mean that literally, because that's the part people don't talk about enough. But there's, and it's true not only for women, but also for men. There's a lot of tears and sleepless nights and all kinds of things, because when you're willing to take this risk to not only create a life for yourself, and essentially a job that you're hired by multiple people all simultaneously. And you're willing to do that and work your way into that position. That's the point that I personally, this person personally is willing to start listening to you on maybe some of your demands. And I think that most business owners, if you talk to them, they would be honest about that, but they're afraid to voice it.
They're afraid to.
And I don't know if maybe because I just voiced that, I don't know, you know, my brain cannot, it's kind of funny. I actually noticed that my brain for the first time in my whole system for the first time didn't go, oh my God, I said something that everybody's going to just slam me for. You know why? Because guys, quite honestly, what I went through in 2021 and having this second chance at life, I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. And yes, I just cursed on our podcast. So there we go.
We know our demographic. It's all good.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, guys. We actually very much love you. But I mean, it is the truth. If you're willing to sacrifice and put your entire family's livelihood on the line, and even with, if one of your spouses is working where their income's a little more steady so that you can go get this thing enough so that then both of you can come in to put your entire, to change it in, you have the right to tell me what you want. But other than that, if you're working for me, and this is what I counsel my clients on too, you're working for them, whatever, you're working for LJ. The truth is, we hire you to come do something, and we expect you to honor that. And you do not get to dictate, and you do not get to feel entitled. And if you want to do that, that's fine, but you're not working for me or people who are like me.
No. None of us would put up with that. None of us. It's already hard enough being women in business. It's already hard enough.
It is.
I'm just saying. And then you add that we've got the government contracting and the grant. I mean, we already have people in the industry who are upset at the fact that we've been able to get done what we've got done on a very lean business model.
Mm-hmm.
Already have the detractors. There's already plenty of haters, okay? Plenty.
Exactly.
So you want to hire people and then they come on and then you want to give me a hard time. I'm sorry. That's and this is the issue with this time, is everything has to be this drawn out conversation, and everything has to be this, you know, oh, well, you know, let me tell you about your personality type. Guess what? You are working in a small business. Micro business. It's a startup. Startup culture is not going to be the same as what you would find at McKinsey or 3M or Bank of America. Those are corporate cultures. And let me give you a heads up. You go over there with that, they're going to fire you on the spot, because those are where the real vultures are at. They're not even going to talk to you.
Yeah, they're not even going to give you a chance.
No, they're not going to give you a chance. So you're taking advantage of a really good opportunity and a really good situation when you don't understand truly the pressures that we're dealing with, things that a lot of these people that come in to the firm, they're not going to understand the pressures. They're not going to understand the arguments and the fights that we have to get into just to keep our doggone integrity in the company. I mean, like you said, we have to hire these clients just like they hire us. We have to hire them too. When we work with them, we are either going to be complicit,
Mm-hmm.
or we're going to say, you know what, that doesn't align with me. That's not my value set. I think this isn't going to work out. We have to make those decisions as well. And what happens when we do that is we put a lot of money on the table. We leave it on the table.
We do. We often leave it on the table. And I think that the other thing that people don't understand a lot, or they don't get, especially if they're coming in to work with us, is two things. One is that when we're in the smaller end, okay, because you can make decisions about how big you want your teams to be and everything. And I've always thought it really surprises people how lean of a budget we actually run on. And that doesn't mean that my folks don't get paid nicely. It just means that our overhead, you can actually these days, because of tech and stuff, your overhead doesn't have to be that much, and you can be global. And by the way, I work globally. We work globally. And it really surprises people the size of our team, because they imagine this giant corporation. And those giant corporations at one point start out just like we are. But here's the thing, guys. We might give you a chance. We might recognize that, you know what? Yeah, maybe, sometimes people come in with attitude, they interview very well, whatever, we screen them well. Sometimes maybe they're in the wrong place, so we need to move them into the right place. They're good people. We want them on the team. We want them to be happy. They want us to be happy. They don't really, and so you get everybody moved around into the right places. But I also know that when people say, they, for some reason, there just seems to be this attitude. And I've noticed with people who are younger than me, but my same generation and then down to a certain point, that it's almost this attitude of, but you should give me X and you should give me Y. And oh, well, we're having these disagreements, so let's bring in this third party to help us work it out. It's all of these different things that go, and I'm just like, first off, I don't remember being raised or even having that attitude going to work for somebody. You know what, guys? My thing was, I need to pay rent. I need to put food on my table. I need gas in my car. And by the way, I need the car. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'd like to keep the heat on too. I'm thankful I'm bringing in enough money that I can do that. Mm-hmm. And if I wasn't quite bringing in the money I wanted for where I was living, I figured it out. That was the thing. And I don't know about you, LJ, but I know that by the time I got to 2022, I decided that everybody, and thankfully everybody on my team is, so if they ever listen to this, they'll know, guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. But that really anybody else who comes in that we might bring in onto the team this year, they must be humble and hungry and willing to roll up their sleeves and work for where we are at in our business, getting to where my vision is.
Amen.
It means everybody has to be willing to roll up their sleeves, and that sometimes if it's not their job, they're still going to roll up their sleeves and jump in to do it anyways, because it needs to be done. And it's not about, as you know, we're, an odd company in the sense of we have technically unlimited PTO. Now, we have some parameters and stuff that we've been doing around it and that we've done around it. And that, just through some trial and error, we figured out what the parameters are around that. Mm-hmm. But here's what we found. It's actually made our team a lot happier. You know what? People actually show up and they get done what they need to get done, and there isn't all this angst around certain things, and that works for me. But you know what? That quite honestly doesn't necessarily work for other business owners, or it doesn't work. And there's nothing wrong with all of us having different cultures. LJ and I don't run our companies the same. Heck, we don't even always see eye to eye on how things should go. So, but we listen to each other and hear each other out, and we learn from each other. But the thing about it is, whatever benefits, whatever, I was always just thankful. I was raised to be that way. I was raised that, even if you just have to go get a job and it's not your ideal, but this is the thing that somebody offered you and you need the money, you go do it for a while. Yeah. But I'm also a big believer, and I like to help people rise up to where they want to be, even sometimes investing thousands of dollars in them, knowing that they may only be here for a couple of years, because in doing that, they may decide to, and you know what? I'm perfectly okay with that. Why? We get back to what I said last time, said kind of at the beginning. Because my face structure says that I give, and I'm also wired to give. That is how I am wired. And so I do that with my team. You pour into people. That is, my husband tells me he often hears, the one, or sometimes, well, because of Zoom these days, half the time, like, if he's in here in the office and I'm having a conversation, he'll hear what I'm saying to people. He's like, man, we should have recorded that. Because he goes, you don't even know what you're saying, that like I'm watching the people, you pouring into them. And I think that's the thing of, guys, turn your focus to how you can give this year, not how you can get this year.
Amen.
And if you do that every other day, it will change everything for you by December 31st. I'll guarantee it. It might even change your entire lifestyle. Because when we're open, even when we're having bad times and we're open, we talk about abundance, but I think a lot of people don't really understand what it really means. And sometimes it's hard to conceptualize, because we have a tendency, especially in American culture, we have a tendency to think the greenback, but the truth is, it's not even really about that. But things, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, things can change in an instant in ways you don't even expect. But when you're open, it starts to come. And even when you're open in the middle of whatever it is you're going through. But if you don't learn how to do relationships and give to your fellow man, you're always going to be in this vicious cycle.
What can I get? What can I get? What have you given?
Exactly. And this is how you're going to approach it. And you're going to come out at it from the things of, these things keep happening to me, as opposed to recognizing that sometimes when things happen, they're not happening to you, they're actually happening for you to try to learn the lesson. Because I really believe that human beings were born with two things. One is we have an innate sense of self-worth. This whole idea that people are having problems with their self-worth, I think it's a bunch of, I have a whole article over on Medium, y'all can go read on that one. But on the other side, that human beings really, we were born to give to each other. But I think it's society, it's a lot of things that have kind of taught us to look at it in a different way. Okay, I'm off my rant soapbox.
That's excellent. Excellent. And next week, we'll be talking to you about the social contract. Join us.
Yes, we will be. And Jocelyn will write that down. So
footnotes from Jeremy Bentham, Thomas Humes, John Locke, Charles Montesquieu, and Thomas Rousseau.
Yep. Yeah, Rousseau, boy, he is. We might talk about the spirit of opulence.
All right.
From Trudeau, right?
Interesting.
Ooh, we might have to talk about that one.
Book club.
We're just kidding. Well, we might not be kidding about talking about that, although it could be pseudo book club by the time we're done. We told you folks, you just get us. Raw, unedited, it's just us. Someday we might actually, figure out how to get in the same place, the same locale, record a whole bunch of episodes over, a week or two, just dedicate the time and get it done. Have other people professionally do it. But you know what? The truth is, after more than a year of doing this, we're just having fun doing it. So
yes,
here we are, just us. So we hope that if nothing else, we've entertained you. You know, and if you've listened to the very end, we thank you profusely. If you skip to the end to see where, we appreciate you. You know, no matter how long you've listened, we really do appreciate you. And so, got any final thoughts?
No, I think you killed it. I mean, I think the question for 2020 again is going to be, what for?
What for?
What for? I think that's it.
It is. What for? And
because if you can't answer that, and the answer be something that you, here's the quote. The quote is, for every complex problem, there is an answer that is clear, simple, and wrong. By H.L. Mencken, right?
Right.
It's so true. It's really true. For every complex problem, there is an answer that's clear, simple, and wrong. Don't worry about hindsight 2020. Don't worry about hindsight. Just answer the question, what for? And then govern your actions as according to that response. Whatever that reaction is, let it be what it is and move on.
That's perfect.
I mean, why, dread, and why spend time worrying about what if and what for? Those are the things that make us all depressed and make us anxious and all these other things that are on the rise. That's what causes it. It's that hindsight. Oh yeah, I should have done this. And not, yes, we're going to make mistakes, but guess what? You're supposed to make mistakes. It's not like Instagram. Jocelyn and I were talking about that. You know, people have the wrong conception about everything now, especially our young people, because they go on Instagram, they go on TikTok, they see things that have taken a day to make. We're not even talking about editing and adding captions and adding new sound and all the other things that go with production. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about just the time it took for that individual that you're liking or that you're commenting on to put out the content that they put out for you.
Exactly. Hey guys, it's taken us like 2 hours to do this.
I'm just saying. It's,
we're not even editing it, guys. You know,
we're not.
Even,
but we make it a point when we have days to record our podcast episodes. We make it a point to spend time with each other. That's it's a necessary check-in because we're supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, we care for each other. We want to make sure that we're, being there for each other the best way that we can. And more than that, we care enough to know what's going on in each other's lives. So we don't necessarily schedule time for that, but it's a tacit, it's an inherent.
It's a part of us doing this, yeah.
It's a part of us.
But it's also like when Jocelyn suddenly, because I'm controlling the technical aspects of this, and we go take a break, and I completely cut the broadcast off.
They hung up on me, guys.
We have those types of things too, right? So I mean, it's okay. I don't even know why this is doing that. Is this something new that Zoom is doing? Speaking of things popping up. Okay, well, we'll have to figure this out. Anyways, so something about setting up professional audio, and do I want to add music? And there's this little pop up at the top of the screen here. I'm like, anyway,
they're listening in on us.
Yeah,
it's very Orwellian.
Everybody's listening. There we go. So yeah, that we probably should have an interesting conversation about the third web, because that.
Okay, Web3. Got you.
Yeah. So, anyways, but guys, thank you. We love you. We cherish you. We sincerely thank you and are grateful for you listening to us.
Yes.
Wherever you are in the world. And so I'm going to bid you adieu. I'm Jocelyn.
I'm LJ.
And this is Real
No
Management
management
Talk
talk.
with LJ and Jocelyn.